Greetings, everyone. Today, let us nourish the wisdom within our life essence, allowing it to awaken from the grasp of delusion and attachment, conditions that have bound us to deep and genuine suffering. This essence of life is our original nature, ever present within each of us. It abides within this body, relying on its conditions as a means to experience and learn from the unfolding of all things. It is like preparing for a journey to another star. We must create the necessary instruments, a spacecraft, a spacesuit, and provisions for survival in space. Many preparations are required, including tools to gather knowledge about the new world we seek to explore. Yet, in the end, these are merely instruments for learning. When true understanding arises, all doubts naturally dissolve. In the same way, this body is but a vessel for the life essence to dwell in. Even the voice that is spoken is merely another tool, fulfilling its purpose in this world. The images we form in our minds are merely tools for navigating this world. Emotions, whether satisfaction, dissatisfaction, neutrality, or any other feeling, are also instruments for experiencing life here. Even the very act of perception, the ability to recognize and respond to things, is but a function designed for engaging with this world. In truth, our life essence is not bound by any of these things. This is the key point. We are the pure, empty, and luminous life essence. Yet we have long been caught in the illusion of relying on these instruments on this body, without realizing their true nature. No one has ever taught us to awaken, to turn against the current of delusion, and to rediscover the true essence of our being, because everyone else, too, has been lost in the same illusion. It is as if all beings, both humans and animals across the universe, have come to dwell in this dimension of form. Yet we have become deeply entangled in it, striving endlessly for survival, as if everything truly belongs to us, as if it is all absolutely real. In the past, I too was like all of you. From birth, I was taught just as you were. Parents taught, teachers taught, everyone instilled in us the ways of thinking, remembering, striving, and struggling for survival. We were taught to believe that we are human, that we have parents, relatives, and family ties. We were taught to accept that we have a name, a surname. But when we were first born, did anyone ever ask us what name we wanted? Did anyone ever ask us who we truly are? When we were first born, people assigned us identities. They defined who we were, shaping us according to the world's expectations. We followed along, learning the knowledge of this world as we were taught. We were shown how to live, and so we lived. But no one ever guided us to turn inward, to question and recognize our true nature. We are the life essence, the original element, the primordial essence. This life essence has no form. It is profoundly clear and utterly pure. It is the fundamental nature, ever present, yet merely residing within this body. Relying on the voice that speaks, the images that arise in the mind, the emotions that surface, and the act of perception. These are merely instruments used for learning. If someone had guided us toward this truth from an early age, we would have awakened to it long ago. But it is not too late. I too once wandered in delusion, just as all of you have, just as all beings have. This life essence, when the body perishes, it does not perish with it. Instead, it seeks another form to inhabit. It may take the form of an aquatic creature. We have all been countless types of water-dwelling beings before, only to be consumed by others, or to consume others ourselves. From this, anger, hatred, vengeance, and resentment arise. Even when reborn as land-dwelling creatures, the cycle continues. We become prey or predators in an endless exchange of suffering. The cycle repeats, being consumed, consuming others, harboring hatred, resentment, and vengeance. When reborn as underground creatures or winged beings, the same fate unfolds. We are devoured, we consume, and the cycle of anger and vengeance continues endlessly. The key point is this: Every time we inhabit a body, we believe it to be our own. Yet, when that body perishes, when it is consumed, decays, and dissolves, we fail to see that our life essence simply moves on to seek another form. When will this cycle of rebirth ever cease? When will it finally come to an end? Most of us have been reborn as animals countless times, with only rare occasions of taking human form. By chance, we are fortunate to be born as humans now. But there are countless others who have not attained this form. If this life essence has the opportunity to dwell within the vessel of a human body, it is as if we are merely wearing a set of clothes. Our life essence is not inherently tied to it. The life essence is pure energy, a formless, luminous element that temporarily resides in a given vessel. Once it enters, that vessel comes to life. Do you understand this? Now, if we were to remove the life essence from this body, what some may call the soul or consciousness, what would happen? The body would immediately collapse and begin to decay. Without the life essence, nothing functions. No heartbeat, no thought, no hearing. The body is merely a vessel, animated only as long as the life essence resides within it. The voice that is alive, the ability to perceive everything, these exist because of the life essence. This life essence has a fundamental quality, an innate function, which is the capacity to perceive. The fact that you can hear this voice right now is a manifestation of that perception. It is the life essence itself that perceives this sound. There is no need to consciously try to hear it. It happens naturally. If perception occurs on its own, then where is the self in all of this? Let the life essence answer itself. Let the mind respond on its own. Whether we call it mind, spirit, or life essence, the name does not matter. I have recorded these teachings on the essence of life, the essence of peace, and the universal truth beyond suffering. This has been created with a single purpose. For everyone in this world, children, even the youngest ones, can listen and understand. Children, the elderly, those with disabilities, women, men, people of all genders, ages, castes, statuses, beliefs, religions, nations, and ethnicities, everyone on this earth must learn this knowledge. Everyone must study the nature of the mind, the life essence. And when we truly awaken to this life essence, it is not even a matter of attaining it. Rather, as we continuously come to understand the essence of life, the fundamental nature of our being, this understanding deepens and deepens until our life essence naturally awakens and is freed from all conditions. Freeing oneself from all knowledge previously held, this happens the moment the life essence realizes the truth, that it is profoundly clear and utterly pure. When the life essence comes to truly recognize itself, it no longer depends on any external instruments. When this body dissolves, the life essence will not return to be reborn again. This is what it means to be completely liberated from suffering. Anyone who listens to these teachings will experience a moment of profound realization, a sudden awakening, bringing tears to their eyes. It will become clear that all suffering we endure today stems from the illusion of believing this form, this identity, to be who we truly are. This is a kind of knowledge we have never known or heard before. As we continue to listen, moments of insight will begin to arise, and suddenly there will be a breakthrough, a release from the sense of self. It will dissolve the feeling that this body is me, and even the attachment to this very voice will fade away. While we are thinking, when we clearly see that the inner voice, the thoughts constantly speaking within, arises on its own, without an owner, then a realization begins to unfold. The thoughts think by themselves. No one truly owns the voice that speaks in the mind. The same applies to mental images. When we recognize that they arise on their own, without a true owner, we begin to see them for what they are, merely instruments. Seeing clearly, we realize that all emotions are merely arising and dissolving on their own. There is no true owner of them. We see that perception happens by itself. It hears on its own. It perceives sound on its own. It sees on its own, it tastes on its own, and it feels sensations through the body on its own. Observing this, we recognize that there is no need to try to hear. Hearing is already happening. Then the question arises, where are we in all of this? When this realization strikes, when understanding deepens in an instant, it is as if a great weight suddenly drops. Tears will fall. A profound realization will arise, as if waking from a long dream. It will feel as though we have been acting in a grand play, wearing masks and fully immersing ourselves in our roles. And yet, we have been playing this drama seriously for over 3 million lifetimes. We have played countless roles in this grand play, continuously acting in different stories. But then, one day, someone who was acting alongside us awakened. They come to tell us, "My friends, do you realize that this play we are performing is not real? We have played the hero, the heroine, the virtuous, the wicked. We have taken on supporting roles, played the fool, acted as servants, security guards. Every part we have embodied in this play is not truly real. We are merely here, playing temporarily. It is time to awaken." We have been so engrossed in these roles that we have forgotten they are just performances. We must become aware now, for none of this is truly real. We are not truly connected to these roles at all. Wake up and see. Hearing this, we are surprised. But isn't what we are playing real? How can it be just a play? I have always played the role of a servant. How could that not be real? Right now, I'm playing the role of a merchant every day. How can that not be real? Why say such a thing? I don't understand. I'm confused. Yet, as we continue playing our roles, a question begins to arise. Why? Why am I playing this role? Then suddenly a realization strikes. Who am I, really? And in that moment, something clicks. Am I the one thinking right now? Is this voice speaking? Who is it? Who is creating these mental images? Are the emotions present right now arising on their own? Is the awareness that perceives all of this knowing by itself? Then suddenly a realization flashes, and everything breaks free in an instant. The life essence, which has long been lost in identifying with these conditions, lost in dwelling within this body, has been so absorbed in them that it never questioned its own existence. It became so accustomed to relying on these things that no one had ever pointed out, "Wake up. This is not real. Nothing here truly belongs to us. Nothing is actually us or ours." Upon hearing this, there is a sense of shock. How can it not be real? This voice that is speaking, I'm speaking it right now. If this voice is not truly me, then where is the self? Then we recall what was said. The voice speaking in the mind. It is thinking all the time. It thinks on its own. How does it think on its own? One day, while I was sweeping the house, mopping the floors, or doing the laundry, suddenly, in the middle of the night, the room was lit up brightly with the air conditioning and all the lights on. Then the power went out. When the lights went off, it startled me. In that moment of darkness and shock, a thought arose. Who is startled? Who is feeling this shock? And then the mind started thinking, where can I find a candle in this blackout? I heard the voice in my mind say, where can I find a candle? And then came the realization, who is speaking this? And suddenly, everything became clear. When the life essence realizes the truth, that the conditions it has been inhabiting for so long do not truly belong to anyone, it awakens. These conditions exist only as instruments for navigating this world. They have nothing to do with the life essence itself. The life essence, or what some may call the soul, the mind, or simply pure awareness, is formless. It is profoundly clear and utterly pure. It is a fundamental nature that existed before all things. Yet it has not yet awakened, it simply has not yet seen the truth. When the life essence finally perceives reality, It recognizes that it has been clinging to and dwelling within sounds. But sound itself is merely a ripple on the surface of the life essence. Mental images, too, are just ripples on its surface. Emotions, likewise, are nothing more than waves that arise and fade along its periphery. Even the act of perception itself is merely a response of the life essence to external contact. It simply performs the function of receiving and registering sensations. These interactions create ripples, manifesting as sound, images, and emotions. As long as the life essence continues to inhabit these conditions, it becomes engrossed in them, absorbed in the experience of dwelling within them. It flows along with the sounds and sensations, believing, "This is my body. These are my arms. This is my left leg, my right leg." But pause for a moment. This voice that speaks, observe it. Look at the legs. Do they declare themselves as legs? They do not. It is only the voice that says, "This is the left leg. This is the right leg." Look closely. Did they ever speak for themselves and claim to be what they are called? Did they ever say they are left or right? Did they ever declare themselves as the thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, or little finger? Look closely. There is only open awareness, only the act of knowing. When the life essence encounters something, it naturally perceives it, but it does so without language, without labels. Only when we assign meaning, "This is my little finger, my left leg, this is me, I am a man, I am a woman, my name is Manau, my surname is 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙚," does the mind construct an identity. It is the voice that defines and assigns value, shaping concepts of ownership and selfhood. Even when we look outward, scanning everything before us, from left to right, from right to left, taking in the whole scene, there is only open, spacious knowing. Can you see it? Can you see the truth that is appearing right now? The life essence simply performs the function of knowing, knowing in an empty, open way without stories or narratives. Can you see this? But then the voice speaks. "This is a window. This is a concrete wall. This is a table. This is a bed. This is a phone." It is the voice that says these things. This voice is merely a tool used by the life essence to interpret and learn about the world. Can you understand now that the life essence itself has nothing to do with these conditions? Who can see this? We are the life essence, profoundly clear and pure. The life essence has no form. Within the life essence there is no language, no physical form. It is actually very simple. Do you see? I am pointing you toward the truth, the same truth that exists within every being in this world. All of us share the same mind, the same life essence. Yet, this life essence cannot perceive anything on its own without an instrument. Can you understand this? The life essence is already pure, already clear. It merges seamlessly with everything, with the entire universe. On the day I turned inward, moving against the current to see within, I observed these conditions directly. Sounds, mental images, emotions, and the very act of knowing itself. I simply watched from within. Just observe. Observing the way thoughts arise, how the mind imagines, how emotions emerge, and how perception functions, continuously watching over and over again. As I observed, I saw that these processes operated on their own. Thoughts thought by themselves, emotions arose on their own, and awareness perceived without effort. Then a moment of deep realization dawned, an immense clarity, a complete release, breaking all attachments. To reach this point, no one had taught me. I had to keep knowing, keep observing, again and again. The mind was constantly churning, and in that continuous observation, I began to see the inner voice, the thought speaking within, always present. Even now as I speak, I see it continuously. It is always there, every moment, from waking until sleep, unceasingly aware. As I speak now, I continuously see. It is naturally seen. This thing we call sound has no real name. We simply label it as sound, don't we? But if we truly see reality as it is, without assigning meaning through language, then this sound becomes nothing more than something that appears for the life essence to perceive. The life essence perceives this sound through its own nature. Sound itself is merely a ripple, a vibration within the life essence, manifesting through the body and emerging as speech. But do you see? If we observe with awakened awareness from within, just observe, without grasping, then we can see this phenomenon clearly. Simply noticing the voice speaking on its own is enough. See it without effort. See it naturally. See nature. Listen to these teachings every day. Set a firm intention each day. From this moment onward, I will listen with commitment. I will awaken within. I will observe and clearly see that this voice, these thoughts, arise on their own. I will see those mental images form by themselves. I will see that emotions appear and dissolve on their own. I will see that perception functions naturally, knowing by itself. I will see that all of this is simply nature, not me, not mine. I will no longer foolishly cling to these things. I will not be reborn again. This will be my final existence. I will realize the truth. May this realization arise swiftly and directly. This is the intention we set. I created these recordings with the aim of making them universal, free from the influence of any particular religion, so that anyone can listen and understand. Whoever listens deeply, observes carefully, and clearly sees that nothing is truly me, that thoughts arise on their own, that mental images, emotions, and perception all function naturally without an owner. When this realization strikes, there is a sudden awakening. Tears flow and release happens. It is as if everything becomes clear in an instant. If one continues to listen with deep understanding over and over, the initial comprehension is what I call wisdom. Understanding arises, and as one listens and reflects inwardly, a profound realization ignites. Tears break free. The moment tears begin to fall, that is wisdom at 25%. The key realization is this: everything we experience is shaped by thought. Thought creates all narratives. Look at a house. This thing is not inherently called a house. It is thought that labels it as such. Look at a tree. Thought says, "This is a mango tree." Then, in an instant, realization strikes. Tears flow. That thing was never inherently called mango. It is this inner voice that assigns meaning. Then, looking at one's own arm, hand, or leg, tears fall again. This form never declared itself to be me. It is only the voice that calls it arm, leg, body. And the moment this voice utters arm, leg, and one truly sees it for what it is, tears stream down. It is as if the entire understanding of being human collapses completely. It becomes light, open, liberated from the sense of being human by about 50%. Keep observing. As you continue listening to these teachings, you will begin to notice thoughts more frequently, again and again. They will reveal themselves. Whatever arises, you will see it. You will see emotions arise and then fade away. If laughter appears, you will see it. If happiness arises, you will see it. If dissatisfaction arises, you will see it. If satisfaction arises, you will see it. Even neutrality, you will see it. And as you keep observing, a realization begins to form. Emotions never declare themselves to be anything. It is only this voice that assigns labels. This is satisfaction. This is dissatisfaction. This is happiness. This is suffering. The voice speaks, but the experience itself never calls itself anything. Then suddenly tears rise for a brief moment, and in an instant everything vanishes. Seeing this, the illusion completely shatters, cut off, broken, dissolved. It's like thoughts just arise and pass naturally. Suppose a mother thinks, "What should I have for lunch?" Then suddenly a thought appears. "Let's just let the child eat this. All right, I'll go for noodles." The moment that thought arises, it is seen, and then gone. Now another thought emerges. After eating noodles, I'll stop by to withdraw some money. As soon as this thought appears, boom, it vanishes again. There is a knowing, an awareness that thoughts arise by themselves, following their nature. But as mindfulness becomes more refined, the gaps between these moments become clearer, revealing their transient nature in a more subtle way. As soon as the thought arises, "Let me withdraw $1,000, and the mind starts forming the words, "withdraw 1,000, boom, it instantly disappears, completely cut off. The thought vanishes in a flash, leaving an open, clear space. After a moment, the eyes start scanning left and right, and another thought begins to form. Where are the keys? As the eyes move, the mind starts shaping the word key. But before even finishing the word key, right at Q, boom, it disappears again. At that moment, this is the life essence. When it awakens, it becomes incredibly powerful. When it sees sound as it truly is, when it perceives sound continuously, it gains great strength. Because now it sees thoughts the moment they arise, snap, and they vanish. Thoughts dissolve instantly. There is no clinging to them at all. The life essence no longer depends on thought in any way. Do you understand? For example, when a thought arises, key? It hasn't even fully formed into key chain, yet the moment key is seen, boom, it vanishes instantly. It feels as if the entire world shatters into countless fragments, as if the body itself disintegrates. Everything flattens into complete stillness. At that moment, tears flow uncontrollably. There is no way to explain it. What just happened? No one knows. At this point, the mind, the life essence, acts on its own. When the mind or the life essence has reached this state of continuous awareness, it functions naturally. We have no control over it anymore. Just know that. Our only task is to listen to these teachings again and again until true understanding reaches the heart. Listen deeply, and eventually the voice of these teachings will resonate within the mind, within the life essence at all times. It will continuously refine itself, and release will naturally happen, loosening, unraveling, and letting go. As understanding grows, 25%, 50%, 75%, tears will flow. Now I understand everything. Wait, not yet. True understanding comes when thoughts are seen the moment they arise, just a single word, key, and then, boom, it shatters, completely severed, breaking apart. It feels as if the body disintegrates, as if the entire world explodes into nothingness. Or sometimes, it is as subtle as walking and suddenly dropping your keys. Ping, ping. And in that very moment, realization strikes. There is a sensation, something is being felt, yet there are no words to define what it is. But it is sensed as something we call sound, isn't it? Then suddenly, a shift. A thought arises. Who is aware? A knowing emerges, swift and immediate, boom. And in that instant realization strikes. Who is aware? Then explosion. Everything shatters. It feels as if we are being torn away from the sense of self. The body disintegrates. Thoughts, imagination, emotions, perception, everything crumbles, dissolving into nothingness. It is as if we had never existed in this world at all. It is as if we are merely a robot. This body is a machine, and our life essence is a form of energy inhabiting it. This energy flows through and animates the robot, allowing it to think, imagine, feel emotions, and perceive everything. It accumulates data throughout its entire existence, doesn't it? But then, one day, the life essence awakens. It begins to observe, am I really this robot? Where am I? Why do I depend on these things? Because we have been guided to turn inward and recognize that we are the life essence. We begin to see that all of these functions are simply tools, temporarily inhabited. And as awareness deepens, we start to notice thoughts truly arise on their own. It thinks on its own. It feels on its own. We just keep understanding, seeing it, understanding, until suddenly there's a realization. In the end, this robot, this body, these thoughts, these mental images, these emotions, this knowing, none of it is truly me, is it? Then, in the midst of walking, a sudden insight flashes, just as a key drops with a clang. The sound is heard, and the question arises, who heard that? And then, another realization bursts forth. It heard by itself, didn't it? At that moment, a profound understanding arises, like the very essence of life is about to detach from this robotic shell. It's as if, boom, it momentarily steps out. Boom, it slips free just for a moment, and in that instant it doesn't even know itself as it once did. We are that transparent essence. Let's call it the element of life, for there are no words to truly name it. Let's use the term life essence, but do not think of it as something separate from us. We are this itself. We call it that, but in truth, there is no language to define it as me or mine. There is no self left, only the life essence, profoundly pure. Then, when the realization strikes, who is aware, understanding ignites. Boom! A breakthrough, complete severance. At that moment, there are no words. It is not something spoken, it is something directly known. And then, explosion, dissolution, release. When the life essence breaks free, tears will fall. It is as if all the knowledge we have ever accumulated, the understanding that we are human, that we have parents, relatives, a family, a life filled with countless identities, completely collapses, shattering into fragments. Only this essence remains. Only pure clarity remains, profoundly pure, utterly transparent. This nature is truly pure, boundlessly clear, dissolving into the entire universe. And the light, radiant beyond measure, fills everything, illuminating the entire cosmos. This brilliance is the radiance of wisdom, the embodiment of knowing, vast, all-encompassing. Yet, the life essence itself remains clear. It is not bound to the light, it is beyond even that. Brightness is merely an aspect of wisdom within the element of life. It is pure, clear, and luminous, encompassing the entire infinite universe. Yet all things are utterly empty, nothing remains. It is as if the body has been erased, thoughts, emotions, perceptions, completely wiped away. Only pure clarity remains. Now try erasing the entire universe. Erase darkness, erase light, until only pure clarity remains. That is what we are. Clear, pure, boundless, dissolving into the whole universe. And then the realization dawns. We are this very element, an element beyond words. At that point, there are no words, only tears falling. We simply know. The element of life has recognized itself. And when it reaches this realization, it will never be born again. When this body dies, it will seek no new form, nor will it return to suffering ever again. In that absolute purity, in the utmost clarity, this is the origin of all things. Yet even to say we exist is not quite true, for we do not exist. What remains is the fundamental essence of knowing, an element that comprehends all things in the universe. We have merely come to dwell in this world. This world is but a dimension, a plane of existence. Call it Dimension 1, Dimension 2, Dimension 3, or Dimension 4 if you wish. This world is a realm of form, a world that relies on the body, sound, mental images, emotions, and perception as means of communication. It functions through these elements, yet all of it exists within the element of life. All of this exists within Dimension 0, the zero dimension. Our body may belong to the third, fourth, or even fifth dimension, what can be called the dimension of time. The sixth, seventh, eighth, or ninth dimensions may exist, but all of them ultimately reside within Dimension 0, within the life essence. Dimension 0 has no time, no distance, no space, and depends on nothing. It is profoundly clear, utterly pure. Here, a realization arises, one that cannot be explained to humans. It must be experienced directly. The life essence comes to inhabit a body, to rely on sound, mental images, emotions, and perception. These are only temporary tools, for the life essence does not yet know what it truly is. It does not yet know everything. The life essence has only one purpose: to know itself, to know what it is, and to know what all things truly are. At birth, emerging from the mother's womb, our eyes have yet to open, but we immediately feel the impact of the air around us. We do not know that this is air. We do not know that we have left the womb. We do not know that we are human. There is only a shift in sensation. Discomfort arises, and we cry. At that moment, the life essence knows nothing. It simply manifests natural responses, functions meant for existing in this world. Because the life essence has taken residence in a body, and with a body, it begins to generate conditioned responses, prompting movement, prompting the cry of a newborn. The first cries, the wails of suffering, are not truly from any deep pain. Inside the womb, there was warmth. But upon entering this world, the warmth is gone. The unfamiliarity, the sudden change, it creates discomfort, and so dissatisfaction arises. But then, as the mother offers milk, the infant suckles. A new sensation emerges: comfort, warmth, satisfaction. And with that, the newborn begins to feel at ease, smiles, and drifts into sleep. This alternating cycle of discomfort and satisfaction is merely a natural function of the life essence, momentarily dwelling within these conditions. Because we have a physical form, when life essence dwells within this body, it learns to exist through various states. Then it begins to remember, now I am content, I must be like this. Now I am discontent, I must be like that. Now I am attracted to this. Like the instinct of nursing, it doesn't know it's called nursing, it simply feels and gradually understands on its own. The life essence begins to open its eyes. We begin to open our eyes without knowing that at this moment we are opening them. We just feel something, and our eyes open. At this moment, we don't realize we are opening our eyes, do you understand? There is no verbal language yet. Do you understand? It doesn't know language yet, do you understand? Eyes open and see everything, hearing sounds, sensing smells, tasting flavors, feeling touch. The life essence perceives everything because it is fundamentally a learning element. It perceives through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. While perceiving, there is no verbal language. It knows in emptiness, knows without stories. It knows in emptiness, but in a raw, primal way. It knows in emptiness without language, just existing in that raw state. Not knowing what it knows, yet knowing, beginning to record what things are. Inside, there are only undefined, what is this? Moments. When sound makes contact, what is it? There isn't even language to call it sound. Its duty is simply to perceive, though it doesn't know what it perceives. And it doesn't even know it is human, do you understand? Life essence has never been human, do you understand? Do we understand that we have never truly been human? We have never even been born into this world. All of this is merely ripples of our consciousness, remembering stories. Then we assign values. Now I am a man. Now I am this person's child. I am a woman. Now I am that person's child. These are my parents, these are my arms, legs, my body. I have this name and surname, this voice speaks. Do you understand? Without this voice speaking, there would only be raw knowing, knowing without stories. There would only be perception and the beginning of recording. At first, the raw perception is just that. Raw perception without understanding anything, unable to comprehend because there is no thought process yet. Then, seeing things repeatedly, memory begins, remembering images, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches, beginning to record and process. The life essence starts to record and process, beginning to instruct this body to record and process, to understand, starting to remember sounds, remember smells, remember images. When content, smiling comes, though not knowing this is called smiling, just knowing that when satisfaction arises, the face naturally breaks into a smile. Then seeing parents playing with us, teasing us. We were puzzled. Why did they interact with us? We didn't know. Language couldn't yet be used to understand, so we could only remember images. At first, everything was stored as visual memory. We remembered all the images. We also remembered sense, touch, emotions, and the feeling of warmth. Everything. But sound, that was harder to grasp. We didn't yet know what they were saying. It took time to understand sounds. Manau of daddy, Manau of mommy, Manau. Why do they keep saying Manau? Manau, Manau. Ah, Manau is me. I am Manau. Manau began to believe that Manau was who Manau was. Do you understand this part? Manau kept hearing it every day from Manau's parents until it became familiar. Over time, Manau started to make sounds, babbling without knowing what they meant. One day, Manau said, "Agu, ah, oo, Zrenia," and the parents were overjoyed. Seeing their happiness, Manau was surprised. Why are they so happy? Do they like it when I make these sounds? So Manau kept babbling more and more. Then the parents encouraged, "Say it clearly, my child. Ah, ba, ba, ooh." The moment Manau managed to form a clearer sound, excitement filled the air. Little by little, Manau's words became more defined and a new thought arose. Is this how I'm supposed to speak? Is this what things are called? If Father is this person, then Manau is me. And so Manau began to recognize, to learn what it meant to be Manau. From that moment on, sound became a part of understanding the world, one that shaped the sense of self. We begin to rely on the sounds we think of, dwelling within thought itself. We rely on mental images that arise and are remembered, on the sounds and visions that take shape in our minds. This thought, formed as sound, do you see how it speaks within? We lean on these inner voices, on the images we recall, seeing them as real. We rely on emotions, beginning to engage with them, playing with what pleases us and what does not. If it is like this, we like it. If not, we dislike it. We start expressing it through our faces, through gestures, conforming to patterns we have learned. And then, slowly, we cling to all of it as self. Wait, pause for a moment. Do not lose sight of the truth. We are but the essence of life itself. Do not lose sight of the truth. Awaken now, O mind. Awaken. The essence of life. Do not be deceived in this moment. You have begun to cling to the idea that you are human. Do you see this? Wake up now. I am calling you to awaken. O essence of life, do not be misled into believing you are merely human. Awaken. If we were to play the teacher's recordings for children from a young age, regardless of gender, faith, or nationality, letting them hear from childhood onward, it would take only a few days for them to recognize this truth. Do you see? If we truly listened, truly understood, and observed deeply, we would see. This body indeed was born only to die. This body does not last long. Suppose that every human body could exist for only 9 days, just 9 days for all of us. Do you see? We would have to hurry, eat quickly, sleep quickly, grow quickly, expand our lineage quickly. And then, at the end of 9 days, we would die. Everything would be rushed, eating, sleeping, growing, reproducing, only to die. Do you see? This is the extent of the body's value. Its worth lies merely in consuming and growing. As beings feed, they consume one another. Whether plants or flesh, it is all the same. But for what? To grow, to reproduce, and then to perish. Is that all there is? This is the reality of the body, speaking only of the body itself. Suppose this body could only last for 9 days. That's just how it is. Whether it lasts 9 days, 90 days, or 900 days. We are born only to hurry and eat, to grow, to reproduce. And in the end, this body ages, falls ill, and dies. Yet we fight, we clash, we consume one another, we destroy one another. We are trapped in anger, hatred, vengeance. Day after day we quarrel and struggle, obsessed with chasing mere scraps of paper called money. We fight, we kill, we destroy, just for these pieces of paper, just for a single plate of food. We struggle from dawn to dusk, exhausting ourselves for one meal, for the desire to own more of these meaningless scraps. Wake up, element of life. Something this simple. Must it really be taught? We did not come into this body just to be deceived into believing we are this body. Wake up. We are the element of life, only temporarily dwelling in this body, to learn, to discover what we truly are, to understand what everything really is. Do you see? Right now, you are fortunate to hear this, to encounter the truth. When the element of life begins to observe, to awaken from within, it sees clearly that this body is temporary. It does not last long, it truly dies. And if this body dies, the element of life will surely have to seek another body again. No, it must end in this very era, otherwise suffering will never cease. Being born again. Into what? Imagine being a creature of the water, only to be hunted and devoured. How much suffering is there? Being struck with a blade, beaten, crushed, endless torments before the body finally perishes. This cycle must not continue. Being born as a wild animal, a bird, or a creature of the water, each faces suffering before death, hunted, destroyed, and tormented. Imagine the pain. And in this endless cycle of hatred, vengeance, and anger, we consume them, and they consume us. It goes back and forth. One kills, the other retaliates. This is the nature of existence. The element of life, when inhabiting something, clings to it, because no one has ever taught it otherwise. But now you have heard the truth. Share this truth with the world, spread it. Let every being on this earth hear it, the Panya-Wimutty channel. Share it far and wide. This is the truth. I have come to point it out to you, to reveal reality. When the element of life truly understands this, listen deeply. Listen until tears fall, until something within finally breaks free. Until that moment of sudden realization, keep listening. The more you listen, the lighter it becomes. Notice it. If you feel a lightness, even 25%, you will know it yourself. Imagine carrying a body weighing 100 kilograms. As you listen, as you begin to understand, it feels as if you've set down 25 kilograms. With deeper understanding, 50 kilograms disappear. Then, at 75 kilograms, something shifts, and the realization accelerates. Then, suddenly, it breaks through. And in that moment, it is known. A weightless clarity, an effortless lightness, every day. And then, it completely let go. No more body, no more voices, no more mental images, no more emotions, no more sensations, only the pure, clear element dissolving into the entire universe. And this state remains. The moment this happens, you will know there is no more birth. No force in existence can cause rebirth again. Because it has seen, and once it sees, it does not return. This pure essence never takes birth. No matter what, it does not arise. It simply is, always. There is no need to strive, no need to maintain it, no need for practice. Just listen and inwardly observe, that is all. Gently observe within. Once we understand that this body is not us, we become indifferent to it. The only thing that remains to be seen is, who is this voice that speaks? Who is this mental imagery, this emotion, this awareness? The teacher has always pointed the way. Observe and overcome. Master this game, for that is what it is. Realize it fully. Become completely aware. But even to say realize is not quite right. Let the essence of life awaken, truly awaken. See it clearly, observe it deeply, recognize that emotions are simply natural occurrences. Every time we think or imagine something, if events unfold as expected, pleasure and satisfaction arise. But whenever things do not go as we wish, discontent and suffering arise. Emotions always follow our thoughts. There are always two sides, pleasure and displeasure. But no matter what form emotions take, they are just what they are. Like flipping a coin, it will always land on heads or tails. The one with true wisdom, the awakened one, does not even pick up the coin. The wise one knows, why pick up the coin at all? The moment you lift it, it becomes heavy. Whether it lands on heads or tails, it carries weight just the same. Do you see? Whoever sees that emotions are worthless understands that they simply arise and pass on their own. They do not belong to anyone. Awaken. We are the essence of life. Do not lose sight of this. We have taken on this body only to learn, to see that nothing truly belongs to us. Everything is just as it is. When the essence of life fully realizes that emotions are merely natural phenomena, it sees the absurdity of clinging to them. Why grasp at emotions at all? If suffering arises, so be it. Kick it away, release it, and do not claim it as yours. And in doing so, what remains is lightness, ease, and complete freedom. Whether it is pleasure or happiness, let it be. Whether it is displeasure or suffering, let it be. Why cling to it at all? A realization arises. If we do not cling to anything, it all becomes meaningless. This is it. It is worthless on its own. We were simply foolish to believe otherwise. Observe this carefully. Keep understanding. Do not cling. Just see it clearly. Understand deeply. See it for yourself. Emotions arise on their own, and then they disappear on their own. See it clearly. Satisfaction arises, then fades. Who can take an emotion and mold it into something solid? Can you shape happiness into a tangible form? Can you mold suffering into a solid mass? Is there truly anything there? When there is no self, do you see? No form, no shape, do you see? Then why foolishly cling to emotions? Why carry them like a burden? Only those who are utterly ignorant would carry emotions upon their shoulders, wouldn't they? Whether joy or satisfaction arises, let it be. It belongs to no one. The moment you truly see this, tears will fall. Satisfaction, dissatisfaction, suffering, happiness, whether neutral or intense, are all just emotions. They are part of nature, arising and passing on their own, belonging to no one. Just observe, just see it clearly, and when that moment of clarity arrives, boom, it breaks free, tears will fall, the weight will lift. Now take mental images, thoughts. Suppose a thought arises. Puppies are so cute. Should I get one? Why are puppies and kittens so adorable? Then after returning home, the thought arises again. They're so cute. Maybe I should get one. A tiny, lovely creature. Do you see the voice speaking in your mind? Sitting at home thinking, what breed should I get? Maybe a Chihuahua? The voice that speaks, the images that appear, can you see them? If we can truly see it, is it thinking on its own? And then, tears fall. A sudden realization bursts forth. Everything arises because of thought. The inner voice speaking in the mind, the voice that moves the mouth to speak aloud, the mental images that appear, all of it can be seen as mere natural phenomena. Wake up, element of life. Awaken. Do not be deceived. The pure, clear essence has been waiting, only for discovery, only for awakening. Wake up now, element of life. See clearly. This voice speaking inside, this thought arising within, is thinking on its own. It is a natural occurrence belonging to no one. It thinks, and then it vanishes. It arises and it disappears. We are caught in endless suffering because we follow these thoughts. This is where the realization strikes. Why have I been so foolish? and then it breaks free from the voice itself, as if no longer relying on it, as if everything arises simply because of thought itself. Even the body, because this voice calls it my body. Even emotions, because this voice labels them happiness or suffering. From the very first moment to now, it has only been this voice, giving meaning to everything. Can you see it? And now, this voice disappears. Everything is gone, the moment it arises, the moment it vanishes. Emotions, thoughts, and mental images arise now and vanish now. Gone, completely gone. So, where are you? Where is the voice? Can you touch it? The sound, this fleeting vibration, is not yours. It belongs to no one. It simply exists. Listen carefully. Your true nature is not the body, not the voice, not the emotions. You are the pure, clear essence, temporarily dwelling in this form, borrowing thoughts, images, and sensations. Since birth, you have been lost in these things. But now, having encountered this truth, having found a way to awaken, turn back, see clearly, and let go. Oh, element of life, awaken now. Do not be deceived. This voice is not you. These thoughts are not you. You are not this body. You are not this voice. This voice is merely a function, a tool used in this world. It cannot be grasped. It belongs to no one. And yet, all suffering arises from this very voice, the chaos of the world, driven by this very voice. It assigns meaning to everything. This is money. This is my body. This is happiness. This is suffering. But none of it is truly so. Can you see this? If something this simple is still unseen, listen again, 100 times if needed, until the moment comes when realization bursts forth, when the weight lifts, when tears fall. And when that moment arrives, you will know who could have imagined such a thing. Imagine it, an element of life, formless and pure, without body, beyond all attachments, no voice, no images, no emotions, not even perception remains. This is the pure essence, untouched and limitless. Return home, element of life. This body is not you, it is not yours. Even this voice speaking now, it is not you, not yours. And yet, listen. See it for yourself. It hears on its own, it knows on its own, it smells on its own, it sees on its own, it tastes on its own. Observe carefully. It experiences flavor on its own. It finds things delicious on its own. It perceives sourness, sweetness, saltiness, richness on its own. It feels full on its own. It feels hungry on its own. It senses on its own. Look closely. This voice speaks on its own. This knowing knows on its own. Emotions arise on their own. They appear and disappear on their own. All of these natural occurrences, none of them are us. None of them belong to us. Do not cling to anything. Clinging is the very cause of suffering. Look at the world. Hatred, vengeance, resentment, violence, destruction. People fight over land, but earth belongs to no one. Land is part of this world. It has no owner. This body too belongs to the world. It was born to decay. This body is only borrowed for a short while, meant to be used for the learning of the element of life. When the element of life realizes the truth that this body is not us, then even this voice is seen for what it is, merely a tool for use in this world. It cannot be grasped. This voice, it is just a natural occurrence, a messenger of thought. Tell it not to think. Does it listen? No, it keeps thinking on its own. Tell the mind not to imagine. Does it obey? No, it keeps creating images on its own. Tell emotions not to arise. Do they stop? No, they continue to form on their own. And this knowing, it knows on its own. Look closely. Can you see? There is nothing here that is truly us. Wake up now, return home, O life element. Nothing is truly ours. Nothing belongs to us. When the life element accepts this truth, at that very moment, ping, understanding will arise. Deeper and deeper it will sink in until it reaches the heart. And when that happens, the life element will break free, weightless, unburdened. The more we listen, the lighter it becomes. The more we hear, the more liberated we feel. Once we break free, life will be effortless. When the life element truly realizes this truth, it will be released, merging as one with the entire universe. Tears will fall as we come to know what it truly means to be free from birth. From that moment on, there will be no more suffering, never again. Continue listening. Live your life as usual, but within, the life element will have awakened. It will no longer be deceived by attachments to anything in this world, and because of that, suffering will cease. From then on, life will be about sharing, helping one another, yet without attachment, without distress. This is the essence of universal liberation from suffering. This is the core of true peace. This is the realization that ensures we never return to be born, to suffer, to die again. Let the life element awaken to this truth. It is time to go home. Now it is fitting to conclude here. May all of us realize this truth swiftly and without delay. May it be so. From now on until full realization arises, I will listen to the teachings with clarity and deep understanding. I will awaken within, seeing the thoughts as they arise, recognizing them as their natural state, not as me or mine. I will see clearly that mental images, whether of this or that, are simply natural phenomena, not a self. I will realize that emotions, whether satisfaction or dissatisfaction, neutrality, happiness, suffering, or any other feeling, are all part of nature, not me or mine. I will see that the knowing itself, the awareness of this very moment, arises naturally on its own. It is not I who knows. I will see this truth fully and not foolishly cling to these phenomena. I will not be bound to the cycle of becoming. This will be my final birth. May complete and luminous understanding arise instantly. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.